Good afternoon. Today is December the 12th and I'm out in the greenhouse and I'm making up a mixture of greens to take in for smoothies for a few days. It occurred to me recently that I have never discussed the goals and expectations for our little greenhouse here. We do have a 95-ton rock heat sink underneath it that we're using to help mitigate the cold temperatures in the winter. And I've not clearly defined the goal and hopes for our greenhouse. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and do that today. When we started this, I didn't want to grow a variety of crop. When we started this, I did not want to grow a crop that was going to require a lot of heat and would be frost sensitive or frost insensitive. The reason being is, to do that, typically you're going to end up spending a lot of money either in propane or have a wood stove that you're nearly married to and you have to keep constantly stoked to keep the greenhouse sufficiently warm for those frost sensitive and frost intolerant crops to survive. I wanted something that would significantly extend our growing season and, with a little bit of help through the heat sink, allow us to grow hardy crops hopefully all winter long. Now, we're not to our cold months yet, and when we do get there, I'm likely going to need to put another hoop over these beds to further protect the crops that are in our greenhouse. I'm okay with that. I'm expecting it to occur, so we will deal with that when I get there. But in the meantime, we are still growing food. December 12th. I do not have to spend any time out here stoking the stove. I don't have a propane stove of any kind going to keep things warm. It's working. These are cauliflower leaves, by the way. This is our first winter with anything growing in the greenhouse, and we're still learning. I have a mixture of hardy and moderately hardy crops out here in the greenhouse. I had a little bit of cold temperature the other night, and my beets didn't kill them, but they look a little bit rough. In the future, we may need to swap to entirely hardy crops to get them to grow all winter. Again, I don't know yet. We will see as the winter progresses. We are in northern Missouri, and our winters are not as harsh as other places, but it does get pretty cold here in the winter. If we were further south, our climates were a little bit warmer. This greenhouse might allow you to get by with growing frost sensitive and frost insensitive crops. I have family in Arkansas, and I truly believe that if this greenhouse were there, they would be able to grow tomatoes all winter long without any problem of any kind. A realistic goal for us in our climate is to significantly extend the growing season for frost intolerant and frost sensitive varieties, and I believe it's realistic to grow these hardy crops all winter long. Now, if you're new to the channel and you've not previously watched, we do have several videos kind of seeing the build process and what we put into, or the work rather, that we put into building this 95-ton rock heat sink under the greenhouse. I'm not going to bore you with those details again for those that have seen it, but if you're interested, go and check it out. This kale is very sweet in the winter, by the way. Gets a sweeter taste to it as the temperatures get cold. Alright, enough of the kale. Let's go get some cabbage. Now, when we started this project, it was our goal to only provide food for us. Our greenhouse is 45 feet long and 20 feet wide. Inside of the greenhouse we have 4 of these grow boxes that are 18 inches wide and 30 feet long. Because the growth rate slows down on these plants when the temperatures drop, they still grow, but the growth rate slows. It would take a lot longer to grow these to the size that we could sell them at market. And everything that we sell would not be available for us to eat. Again, us eating was the goal of this greenhouse. Us eating was the goal of this greenhouse. Oh, drop it in the sawdust. At some point, we might start selling some of these items, but right now, everything that we're growing in here is for our own consumption. If I were planning on growing and selling, probably go with a larger greenhouse, but to be perfectly honest with you, I don't know what the market demand is, and I don't know how much product we could sell. But there's always a market for fresh, locally grown produce that's grown in the dead of the winter. Nobody else ideally would be growing it. I would have a corner on the market and could demand a higher price because of it. Let me move over to the broccoli. Let me show you this before I set the camera down. We are starting to see heads of broccoli on our plants here. Alright, now with that in mind, or with everything in mind that I just said, we have so far reached our goal of significantly extending our growing season. Our first frost day of the year typically occurs in the first week of October. Look at that beautiful green leaf. And today is the 12th of December. So we have continued to grow almost 2 months beyond when our gardening would generally be done for the year. There's still a lot of life left in the greenhouse here, and I expect that we're going to continue to grow for an even longer period of time. We have a lot of food in these 4 30-foot beds, and I don't even have everything planted. We have more food generally here than we're able to eat ourselves, and we do end up sharing a fair bit of it with friends and family. So far, I'm very happy with the greenhouse. We have learned some lessons and had difficulties on the way, and I'm compiling all those thoughts in my notebook, and at some point I will share with you lessons that we've learned. It is our first year growing through the winter out here, but so far I'm tickled to death to have the greenhouse, and I'm glad that we took this project on. We are not anywhere close to the coldest months of our year. It doesn't occur until January and 1st of February, so we'll see how it goes. Whether we succeed or fail with the greenhouse this winter, we will share that with you and let you know how it goes. Alright, I'm going to get some of this spinach picked and get it to town from my dear cousin. She's going to have a nice bag of smoothie mix for her breakfast in the morning. As always, if you're still with us at this point, please take the time to rate the video, let us know how we're doing. If you have any questions about what we're doing here in the greenhouse or with a Mittleiter garden, I'd be happy to try and answer them for you. Thank you for watching, and happy gardening.